Number 5. It's quite an interesting one. It says 4 sine x times cos cubed x minus 4 cos x times sine cubed x is equal to sine 4x. Looking at this one here, most people would say that this is the more complicated side. If you try to work it out using this side, or rather starting out left hand side, you would have got into a bit of a tangle first before really coming to an answer. If not, congratulations. I'm going to start this one out by looking at the right hand side. The right hand side, I think, is actually more complicated. Sine 4x, look at this, all of these are in the form single x. This is sine 4x. Now, isn't sine 4x the same as sine of 2 times 2x? Sine of 2 times 2x, that's equal to 2 sine 2x times cos 2x. But those two can be simplified. That's going to give me 2 sine 2x is equal to 2 sine x times cos x multiplied by cos 2x. I'm going to turn that for now into cos squared x minus sine squared x. That's going to equal 2 times 2 is 4 sine x cos x multiplied by cos squared x minus sine squared x. I'm going to leave that as cos squared x minus sine squared x, and I'm going to leave that in brackets. Now, let us look at the left hand side. Remember, now we are working with the left hand side, but we are trying to bring it to this. From the left hand side, can't I take out a common factor of 4 sine x cos x? Four sine x cos x can be taken out as a common factor, and that will leave me with cos squared x minus sine squared x. Isn't this equal to this? That means that left hand side is equal to right hand side. Number 6 said cos x over sine x minus 1 minus 1 over tan x minus 1 over cos x times sine x is equal to negative 1 over cos x. This one here we can clearly see we're going to start on the left hand side. I'm going to leave the cos x as cos x for now. Sine x minus 1, let's just leave it as is, minus 1, leave it as is, over tan x will become sine x over cos x minus 1 over cos x times sine of x. Again, I'm going to leave the first term as is. The 1 I'm going to leave as is for now. Common denominator here is going to be cos x sine x. What did I have to multiply this by to make it cos x sine x? I had to multiply it by sine x. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So that will leave me with sine squared x minus 1 over cos x times sine of x. What I'm now going to do, still this is going to stay as cos x over, there's a new transparency, that's going to remain cos x over sine x minus 1 for now, minus 1 over sine squared x minus 1. That can become either sine x plus 1 times sine x minus 1, difference of two squares, sine x plus 1 over sine x minus 1, and it's that divided by cos x times sine of x. This one we're still leaving is cos x over sine x minus 1 minus. Now, think about this. 1 over 3 over 2 is the same as 2 over 3, correct? So 1 over that is the same as cos x times sine x over sine x plus 1 times sine x minus 1. Common denominator of sine x minus 1 times sine x plus 1 means that to the numerator I've got to multiply it by sine x plus 1 minus cos x times sine of x, all of that divided by sine x minus 1 sine x plus 1. Cos x times sine x will give me cos x sine x plus cos x minus cos x times sine of x, all of that divided by sine x minus 1 multiplied by sine x plus 1. Moving on from that step, cos x sine x minus cos x sine x cancels each other out, so that leaves us with cos x over sine x minus 1 sine x plus 1 can become sine squared x minus 1, difference of two squares. Now let's take a look back at what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to negative 1 over cos x. So I'm going to convert the sine squared x, I'm going to convert that into 1 minus cos squared x minus 1. That's going to equal cos x over 1 minus 1. If I can just take the brackets away because there's no multiplying by the bracket. 1 minus 1 cancels each other out, which gives me an answer of negative cos squared x, which cos x and cos squared x will cancel to leave me with negative 1 over cos x, which is equal to the right hand side. Now the critical thing here was, once we simplified it, we needed a bit more direction. Always look back at the right hand side or at the other side. Look at where you are trying to get to. And that brings us to the end of the 4th tutorial on trigonometry. So far it is pretty easy. Go through the exercise that I left for you in the workbook before progressing on with the next tutorial.